Okay, I think everybody's here that's coming for now.
Beautiful. Hola todos.
Hola.
Once again, I would just love to start off by expressing a tremendous amount of gratitude for the opportunity to be able to be with everybody, as always, and be able to reflect on something that's really beautiful and important to me. And thank you, Jeff, for giving me the opportunity, and for saving my butt last week when I wasn't so well. Last minute, too. It's like the night before, I'm like, Jeff, can you save me? He's like, I got you. So, appreciate you so much.
I think it will.
Oh, you did great, I'm sure.
You did.
Yeah. So today, we're still in the wheelhouse of the 7 attitudes of mindfulness. We've been doing that over the past few weeks. I was able to speak on non-striving at one point. And so in a minute, we'll go over just a cursory overview of all the different seven attitudes of mindfulness. But first, I'd like to start off with a meditation, as always, in supporting us with this. So I would invite everybody to sit in a comfortable posture, whatever that looks like for you. There's no right or wrong. The point is to try and have an aligned spine, aligned neck, aligned head in your crown chakra so that we can have everything flow freely. If it feels comfortable for you to do so, I invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze. And also, as we navigate through this meditation, being aware that all sounds, all sensations, all of the experiences that we go through are all welcome. They're all a part of this meditation, as we are a part of all that is. And to start, I would encourage us all, or invite us all, to take a nice deep belly breath in through the nose, pausing at the top for just a moment and releasing through the mouth with each bell, starting now. Inviting you to take a moment, just noticing your breath. Just being an observer of this natural function of your body that supports you, that gives us life, all without asking. And automatically. So without putting any thought or judgment into it, if anything, just gratitude. Be a witness to your own breath. Is it labored? Is it coming to you with ease? Are you naturally taking deep breaths or shallow breaths? And just love whatever state your breath is in right now, as it is quite literally supporting your life force energy. Feeling the sensation of your clothing moving over your skin as you breathe and your body moves. Feeling your belly extrude and contract. Feeling your shoulders rise and fall. way down to the subtleties, feeling the cool air brushing across your upper lip and into your nose. And really revel in this delicious state of awareness. Taking a short step into mastery over ourselves, over our body, over our minds. I invite you to transition in your own timing, transition your breath into long, deep belly breaths, in through your nose and out through your nose. And as you breathe deep belly breaths, I invite you to say to yourself, I am breathing a deep breath in, I am breathing a deep breath out. And slowly, in your own timing, I invite you to transition from long, deep breaths to short, shallow breaths. Again, saying to yourself, I'm breathing in a short breath, and breathing out a short breath. And now inviting you to shift focus and awareness to the fact that all cells in our body are breathing and moving all the time. And so the invitation is to feel into every cell of your body as you inhale. Inhale through every cell, expanding. And as you exhale, exhale through every cell, contracting. transitioning one more time. The invitation is to take a journey from your crown chakra at the top of your head all the way down your body very slowly, almost like honey or molasses is dripping down your body. And as you take a journey through your body, inviting any tension to release if it feels safe and comfortable to do so. Starting from the top of your head at your crown, gently melting down your head, releasing tension in the back of your eyes, in your eyelids, in your cheeks, in your ears, your jaw, rolling down the back of your neck, slowly cascading down your shoulders, down your arms, relaxing your chest and back, and through your guts, down your arms, your wrists, your fingers, feeling yourself supported fully and completely by the earth beneath you and the frame within you. And giving yourself permission just to be. You're stepping outside of the archetype of the human doing. You have permission at any time to harness the power of being a human being and just be. And in your own timing, with love, I invite you to do one more pass, one more journey through your body from the top down. Coming from this relaxed, supported state, I welcome you to elicit feelings within yourself of awareness, of curiosity, of why this experience is happening for you right now. Awareness and curiosity that is supporting me. What a gift. I invite us all to take 3 deep belly breaths together, and through the 3 breaths, find your timing to gently open your eyes or soften your gaze and come back into awareness of the space and each other. In through the nose, pausing at the top, out through the mouth with each chime, starting now. How's everybody feeling? Tranquilo? Aware? Curious? Beautiful. Thank you. Again, I haven't been meditating enough lately. I have slipped in my practice, and I'm so excited to be getting back to it. Just so much awareness of how it supports me in so many beautiful ways. And even just coming here today, having a platform to be able to share this with you and do this together is so supportive for me. So thank you. Over the last several weeks, we've been talking about the 7 attitudes of mindfulness. How beautiful. To be mindful. You know, we hear this platitude all the time of, in this circle, we have a lot of, we live in this very spiritual area. We're around a lot of spiritual people. And we talk about mindfulness and doing the work. Everybody's, are you doing the work? Oh, they're not doing the work. I'm doing the work. What does that look like? We're actually getting into it. We're getting into, oh, be mindful. What does that look like? There's a whole big cornucopia of attitudes, of processes, of techniques to be mindful and be in a state of mindfulness. And having this as a constant reminder, or steady reminder, with different people from different backgrounds and different experiences is such a gift. So what I did last time and what I'd like to do this time is just, today I'm talking about I'm talking about active acceptance. But what I did last time and what I'd like to do this time is just do like a cursory review of all of the seven attitudes, so that we can see where this fits into the grand scheme of things. Because if you're a handy person, you need to be able to fix things. You don't just need a hammer. You got a whole bunch of tools in the toolbox, and it's important to know where they all fit together, where they work together, and this is no different than that. So the first attitude of mindfulness is non-judgment. We've talked about that at length. We've talked about all of these at length here. Non-judgment is an active, participatory action. It's not a passive action at all. And I think the reason for that is because we often default to a state of judgment. And I think something that we've all been working through here is transitioning from a state of judgment to a state of discernment, right? Judgment has a negative connotation to it. We are applying a judgment to something, versus discernment involves a lot more curiosity, right? So non-judgment, being in a state of witnessing, like we were witnessing our breath. We're not judging our breath. We're grateful for our breath. We're just witnessing. We don't even have to have a positive, negative, we don't have to have any feeling about it at all. I'm breathing in deeply. I'm breathing out deeply. I'm noticing my breath is labored. I'm not judging it. I'm just being aware. It's a beautiful act of mindfulness. The Lama, all of his meditations are all centered around focusing on the breath. That's a core part of his practice that he teaches us. Patience. How many people grew up hearing the phrase or saying the phrase, patience is a virtue, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like that's something my mom used to say to me all the time, and it actually, this ties into, I'm going to be talking about my mom today in this, because it ties into things, but I feel like saying something like that, patience is a virtue, ties into active acceptance, because, or not active acceptance, but passive acceptance, which I'm going to talk about a little bit. When people say patience is a virtue, in my experience, and this may just be my experience, it's often said in a dismissive way. Mm-hmm. It's not actually said with the genuine connotation of what it's meant to be. It's like, if you're struggling with something, if I'm struggling with something and says, listen, patience is a virtue, it's almost like a, hey, deal with it. It's not a, patience is a virtue, and let's work on cultivating that together, and what does that look like, and let's do it. It's like it's a dismissive kind of thing, which I think is often the case in passive acceptance, which we'll talk about. So that ties, all of these things tie into each other beautifully. But patience is something that really stems from deep wisdom, right? Think of how animals who live short lives, like dogs don't live very long lives, right? When you leave the house for half an hour, it feels like a year to them because they don't have the benefit of a long life of experiencing deep wisdom, right? They have a harder time with patience because they don't have the luxury of living a life long enough to build wisdom. Patience comes from the wisdom of understanding I can let things unfold in their own timing. I can be patient because I've lived this. I know that things will change. We're in a constant state of impermanence. Things are going to be okay. The sun is going to come up tomorrow, you know. So from that, moving into beginner's mind, I'm not going to say which one, but I have a stone here specifically representative of beginner's mind. I was actually just talking to Kirby about that this morning, in that I actually really admire how anchored in beginner's mind she can be, more so than me, and it's a virtue that I admire and that I try to work on. Because what beginner's mind does is it takes us out of being limited by our own expertise. Oftentimes we go through experiences, we learn things, we develop, we grow, and sometimes what that does is it builds walls around us, right? It builds biases, it builds an understanding of, nope, this is the way things are because this is the way I experience them. What beginner's mind does is it goes, get rid of those walls, be open to anything, because you could have information that's new that totally breaks something wide open for you. And what a beautiful gift that can be. And using all of these together, using discernment, you know, to decide, okay, this new information, I'm open to it. Okay, that sounds a little wild. Maybe it's not the truth, but I'm going to stay open to it, and maybe there's some truth in there, or maybe it'll inspire something else in me. But what a beautiful opportunity to welcome new information and wisdom. Trust, I went into this, I went into all of these the last time, but trust, to me, is really finding a state to be able to dial into self, to dial into awareness of sensations, experience, energetics, physical sensations in the body, and trusting what comes up when we are experiencing things. Also, trusting the infinite complexity of everything and all that is being perfect. You know, when people say, oh, this doesn't make any sense, everything makes sense. If it has happened, it makes perfect sense. I trust me. Trust. If it has happened, there is a reason for it. We may not have the comprehension to be able to understand the infinite complexity of everything, because there's infinite number of cells moving and growing and bouncing off each other and reactions and all these things happening all the time. We can't possibly understand any of that. But if it has happened, it makes complete sense. It was supposed to happen. And I think that trusting as well internally, trusting sensations that come up in us. We talk about having a gut instinct, right? Test that in yourself. Are you able to be mindful, practice mindfulness, calm the noise, calm the busyness around you so that you can actually hear what's going on in your body? When I was living in Canada, I was full of alcohol. I was a walking bottle of scotch with a job. And there was noise all around me, and everything was so complicated, so stressful, and I couldn't hear anything that was going on in me. I couldn't trust what was going on in me because I couldn't hear it. I couldn't feel it. I was in pain all the time, and it was just a platitude. It was just, nothing was differentiating from anything else. Then all of a sudden, when you clear the noise, when you get in touch with your body, you can start to hear things. You're like, I just ate something. Whoa, that was too spicy. That's going to cause problems for me. Oh, this alcohol is not good for me. I feel like my gut is really contracted now. Or, you know, you can feel all different things. The same thing with energetics and being around people, thinking through situations. You know, what is my gut telling me? So trusting yourself as well. Non-striving is an attitude of mindfulness. We went into detail with that last time I spoke. I have written here, practicing immersing ourselves in the experience of now. So our experience, our entire experience of everything, is the receiving through our senses, through all the senses we have. If you want to call them five senses, if you want to add in spiritual sense or intuition. The Lama talks about adding senses in as well, which actually brought up something really beautiful for me that I might go into another time. But being in this experience of just experiencing all that is, presence, being in complete presence. So my mind isn't on what I'm trying to achieve, what I'm trying to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with right action, right behavior, all those things. But it's a piece of the puzzle. It's a tool in the toolbox, right? And so it's important because these are all tools that more often than not don't get attention, right? And that's why we're bringing attention to them here. The tool of striving, of being ambitious, of being motivated, those are all beautiful things, but we get a lot of attention on those things, right? Enough for you to say. Yeah, those aren't lacking attention usually, but taking time to cultivate a practice of non-striving, of this complete package of mindfulness is so important. What we're doing here is we're building mastery of our mind. I know everybody here, most people here, we have very powerful minds, very creative minds, very driven, thoughtful, brilliant minds. That's not enough. Those minds, I know for me, have been the thing at like 3 in the morning when I go, oh crap, brrr, and that powerful, beautiful, creative mind starts going crazy, and I don't have mastery over it. I just had a jet engine that went off in my head. It's a beautiful piece of machinery. It's like German engineering and everything is like precision and everything, and it just functions perfectly. I don't need that thing going off at 3 in the morning when I'm trying to sleep. So I need to have mastery over that engine. I need to know that I have controls, I have checks and balances, I have like a process. I can turn it on when I need to turn it on. I can shut it down when I need to shut it down. Right? So that's what this practice of mindfulness is here to support. We're not trying to shut down ambition. We're not trying to shut down, this beautiful machine that we have. We're trying to master it. Use it when we need it. Quiet it down when we need quiet. And then we come to active acceptance, which I'll get to in a bigger sense. And then number 7 is letting go, which is non-attachment. And all of these blend into each other so well. We talk about detached involvement, which is like one of my favorite things to think about all the time. We talk about it all the time. Non-attachment is a beautiful thing. Non-attachment ties into all of these things, ties into patience, ties into trust that this all makes sense, And the point is not to not care. The point is to understand. The point is to not allow the truth of what is to cause suffering. To not grasp onto, I'm trying to shoehorn a reality that I want into what is, and it's not going in, and I hate that, and it's frustrating. We don't need to do that. Okay, this circular thing, is that going through the crack in the floor? It's not going through the crack in the floor. Okay. I'm gonna let go of that. That's not going through the floor. I'm not gonna sit here and be angry about it. Letting go is such a beautiful process, bringing peace, tranquility. It's very supportive of mindfulness practice. So now I'd like to double back on active acceptance. And in talking about active acceptance, there's actually 3 parts to this in my mind. There are 3 modes of acceptance to me. Non-acceptance, I don't accept this. Passive acceptance, I'll get into in a second. And then active acceptance. This is how I want to kind of approach this subject. So non-acceptance is something that sounds like, why is this happening? Exclamation point. Exclamation point, exclamation point. Why is this happening? That's not a question, that's a statement. The statement is, this shouldn't be happening, or this doesn't make sense. It also sounds like, this isn't fair. It sounds like, this doesn't make sense. Or even being in a state of ignoring or avoiding something. That is non-acceptance. Okay? What does non-acceptance do? It reinforces attachment. This doesn't make sense. It's supposed to look like this. I'm attaching to what this is supposed to look like. Why is this happening? It's not supposed to be happening. This isn't fair. You're attaching to all these ideas. It causes suffering. We know this. It's the defects of samsara are confusion, anger, and grasping or attachment. Right? Attachment causes. It's a root cause of suffering. We know this. Non-acceptance causes suffering. It causes dissonance and stress in that dissonance. You know, we're not in the flow with all that is. We're not in harmony with all that is. You know, we're in cognitive dissonance. We're hitting it. We're smashing into something, and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't make sense to us, and that causes problems. Okay. Passive acceptance. What does passive acceptance look like? Someone expresses a problem to me. They have a concern. They have something triggering them that they can't process themselves. They want to talk about it. They want to feel heard and validated. My response to them is, hey kid, life's tough. You know what I used to get as a kid all the time? Life's a bitch. I used to get it all the time. As an 8-year-old kid. Life's a bitch, kid. You know, like, it is what it is. It is what it is. Passive acceptance. Here's a subtle saying that will maybe resonate with some people here. You know what? My mechanic was supposed to have this done in 2 days. He's had my car for a month. Pura vida, right? That's not the intention of that phrase. But we use it that way. We use it as a form of passive acceptance. So what we're doing is we're not ignoring it. We're not saying it's not happening. We're not saying it's not true. We're dismissing it. We're being dismissive. We're bypassing. We're invalidating the person. We're not being conscious. Okay? We're not being in a state of consciousness when we're in passive acceptance. We are uncomfortable with what it is. We don't want to be non-accepting of it, because that might come around and bite us in the ass. We don't want to have that conflict, that dissonance. We want to softly and non-confrontationally just sweep it under the rug. This is what it is. Done? Good. I don't have to deal with it? Good. Not helpful. What that does over time, so non-acceptance causes direct suffering, in my opinion. Passive acceptance causes a gradual decline. It's softer. It's subtle. But it sucks. Life's tough. Get over it. Microfracture. Pura vida. I don't care. Microfracture. Over time, the relationship that you have either with yourself, you're either saying it to yourself, you're saying it to someone else, you're saying it to the situation. Microfracture. You're in a steady, slow state of decline over time. That's not helpful. That's not what any of us want. The beauty of active acceptance. What does active acceptance sound like? So, non-acceptance, why is this happening? Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Active acceptance, why is this happening? Question mark. Curiosity. Doors open, wide open. Right? Why is this happening for me? That's a big one. Transitioning from why is this happening to me? Exclamation point, a statement, not a question, to I wonder why this is happening for me. What am I supposed to be seeing here? What's the universe telling me? What's my body telling me? What's my friend telling me? What should I be doing before I need to be listening to these whispers before they start becoming screams, and I keep moving forward and bulldozing in a state of unconsciousness. And then eventually I hit a wall, and I get sick, I get injured, I offend somebody, I fracture a relationship, all of these different things. I need to be curious, I need to be open. Why is this happening for me? What can I control? Anybody here willing to offer up the only thing that we can control? Yeah. 100%. Us. Internally. We have full control over this. We have full control over our mental state, physical state. We decide how we move through things. We have no control over any of this. We have no control over noises, over sounds, environmentally. It could start pouring rain. We could have a car drive off the road into, who knows? We have no control over any of that. We have full control over ourselves and how we handle things. We have control over the level of suffering that we choose to accept or not accept. That's on us.
Can I give you the Al-Anon Serenity Prayer answer?
Yeah.
Grant me the serenity to accept the people I cannot change, courage to change the person I can, and the wisdom to know that it's me. Exactly the same, just a different.
I was driving the other day thinking about this talk, and that came to mind. I was actually thinking of Tana when that came up. Thank you for adding that. I forgot to put that in.
Yeah, it's really empowering when you get to really understanding and practicing that. It's really empowering because you do have power to make your own changes, and you are powerless over making other people's changes. What's that? So the AA Serenity Prayer is grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's the AA one. The Al-Anon companion organization personalizes it with people, that we're powerless over changing others, but we can't change ourselves. Yeah. Look it up sometime. Al-Anon Serenity book.
Such a beautiful and succinct sentiment that encompasses a lot of these 7 attitudes.
I did a whole talk on that just little aspect in treatment, and then a person came up afterwards and said, "So your 3 hours, was it about this?" And they handed me the Al-Anon card, and I'm like, "Yep, that was it."
Yeah.
How beautiful! Thank you. Can I have that card? And then I incorporated that as the summary of the talk about of all these qualities in the toolbox.
And to that point, you could have a 3-hour talk about it, and it can be in a succinct word or whatever. But there are different levels of understanding and knowing, right? I mean, you can not know something, you can be aware of it, you can understand something intellectually, and then over time and with wisdom and experience, you know it. So you can read that phrase and understand it intellectually. But if you have a 3-hour talk, an immersive experience, you live it, you go home, you meditate on it, you're building a sense of knowing that thing, which is a much deeper state of being able to use that as a tool. You're now not just, oh yeah, I remember that thing. You're going, oh no, I apply this to the things that I do every day without thinking. So that's what it looks like. We're curious. Why is this happening? Why is it happening for me? What can I control? And then what is it? It's being in a state of being fully conscious. So we were talking about passive acceptance is an unconscious dismissive state. Being actively conscious is being in a fully conscious state. We've had so many conversations about acceptance in general in this space, and I specifically remember people talking about, I try to be accepting of this, but what if this person does this to me and I can't stand for it, and like I'm not gonna, and that kind of thing. We're not letting the world happen to us. We're not rolling over. We're using this in concert with a whole bunch of other tools, and the whole point I said a while ago, I gave up on right and wrong a long time ago. Life is more about navigating skillful virtuousness than right and wrong. I can be wrong all day, but if I am trying really hard to use my tools, build the tools, figure out how they fit together, or somebody else is dead wrong and it affects me in a negative way, but they are really working those tools, I'm going to love them through that. I'm going to appreciate where they're coming from. I'm going to have so much admiration and respect for the fact that they are really putting the pieces together, and one day it's going to click and everything's going to be great. You know. So being in a state of full consciousness, fully aware, being solutions focused. You know, I am going to consciously accept what is, recognize that everything that is meant to be. It all makes sense. It's all perfect. It's amazing. And now I can shift to a state of finding a solution. I know that I'm the only thing that I can control. So here's the thing that didn't work out well for me. Okay, great. That is. What do I do now? Okay, well, what can I change? Change myself. How do I change myself to... So we're in a solution finding mode now, right? And we're not doing it in a way that's working against us or that isn't healthy. If I'm looking at a situation, I'm like, okay, that didn't go the way that I wanted. I need these people to change. I need this to happen. I need this situation. We're just beating our head against the wall. Some of that might happen by chance. We don't actually have control over it. We have a delusion of control over it. We don't have control over that. But if we focus on the control that we do have, those other things still might change outside of us in positive ways. There's I don't know if I told this joke before, there's a George Carlin joke. And he said, this is not a play on religion or a statement on religion or anything like that, it's just a funny joke. He said, I used to believe in God. Now I believe in Joe Pesci. It's like, because if I believe in God and I pray to God, I got about a 50-50 chance. If I pray to Joe Pesci, I got a 50-50 chance, but he's a damn good actor. You know? And I think the things that are outside of us, we got a 50-50 chance. Like, they're going to happen, they might not happen, they might happen, who knows. But we're not in control of whether they happen or not. So if we focus our energy on that, we're taking away energy from the control we do have. We're taking away the time, resources, focus on what we do have. If we focus on the thing that we do have control over, those other things are still maybe going to happen, maybe not going to happen, but we're also going to be supported by all the things we're changing within ourselves through acceptance of, that is cool. I can change this. Beautiful. And so, for me, the end result of active acceptance becomes curiosity and empowerment. I do have control over something. I am curious about what's going on around me. I'm saying, why is this happening? With a question mark. I'm actually asking it as a question. What a beautiful thing. Maravilloso, as the Lama would say. I love that so much. Something good happened to you today? Maravilloso. Oh, something went really horribly wrong? Maravilloso. It's the human experience. And also something really beautiful happened to me at the Vipassana retreat. I went through a really incredible, profound experience, and I was like, oh, I think I'm on the precipice on this enlightenment thing, and I did it without any medicines. I just did it through meditation, all this other kind of stuff, and I was just taken somewhere. It was like I was on plant medicine. And I explained it to the Lama, and I'm like, oh, he's going to get back to me. He's going to say, oh, you're on the right track. And he's like, it's just an experience. Don't get too attached to it. I was like, no! I thought I was, okay, you're right. And that's all, going back to earlier in the talk, it's just our senses. All of this is just our experience of things. I've talked about this before. I'm not angry. I'm experiencing anger come up in me. And then I can witness that. I can detach from it. I can process it. I can be conscious of it. I'm not happy. I'm experiencing happiness. What a gift. How beautiful. I'm going to enjoy it like a rainbow, and when it's gone, I'm not going to be upset about it. So, for me, active acceptance is the foundation of curiosity and empowerment. And as we all know, and I know I've talked about it a million times, curiosity is the gateway to compassion and love. And it's like, all of these tools, all of these talks that we have are really just putting gas in the tank over and over again, driving us back to love, back to compassion over and over again, which to me is the foundation and basis of true essence of human nature. It's not suffering, it's love. Love is the antidote for suffering. Compassion supports love. Curiosity is the gateway to compassion. Those are my thoughts on active acceptance. Yeah. I wanted to leave some time to answer any questions or hear anybody else's
Comments, thoughts that you had, questions, any of those things as you listen. I certainly had lots of them myself. Go ahead.
When you were talking about patience is a virtue, I remember the story of my girlfriend. We have talked about things like this often, but she said she was at the beach and she was wearing her like $300 sunglasses and she was looking so good. Eh? So then she went to go in the water and she said, as I was walking to the water, there was that voice that said, leave your sunglasses behind. But she overrode it, right? Because it took time and patience to kind of do that and go back. And so when in the first wave that came, like the glasses were gone, right? So we were kind of talking about this after and talking about how it's so easy to override that little voice that you have inside of you. But if we just have patience, you know, before you go on to the next thing, to take a minute or 30 seconds and just open it up to see, is there anything kind of coming through that would be helpful to me, right?
Yeah.
Just like moving forward without catastrophe. It wasn't a catastrophe, you know. And so it was just that idea. And then just looking back at the situation, she was able to not get angry about it, but kind of grow from it, right? And understand that, okay, next time I'm just opening that up and being a little more open.
Oh, yeah. I hear right on the front of that, thank you for sharing.
Oh, yeah.
I hear actually three components, at least three components in that. Number one is trust. Trust that feeling that comes up.
Yes.
And then having the wisdom and patience around, you know what, I'm just going to go. The waves will be here when I get back. It's going to be fine. And then after the fact, I don't know how she reacted, but maybe having some active acceptance around, okay, that happened. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Why is this happening for me? Oh, I need to trust myself more. I need to have more patience. Maybe that's what I'm going to meditate on next time. You know, and probably more. These are all like, they're in everything. You know.
Somebody else?
Brad, you took a very complicated, it's a very complex thing, and you really broke it down, and you made it accessible to everyone. Well, to me anyway, it was beautifully done. I gotta tell you, and I also know that you've come from a lot of hardship and a lot of changes in your life,
Yeah.
and I'm so proud of your path and who you've become. Sorry. I really mean that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
I feel
really,
you.
yeah, wow.
I feel that from you all the time.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Christina.
I've got a little everyday example on a smaller scale. I had to go up to San Ysidro for a checkup at the hospital. I didn't have to do that.
Talk louder.
And I had to stay somewhere because it was a 6 p.m. appointment. And so I booked myself into this guest house. And I noticed my phone kicked out. And I didn't know how to find the guest house. But I looked before I left and it was sort of the route. I got into the area and there it was. But there was a gate and no place to park outside the gate. And I said, what am I going to do? I got my phone, kept phone. And I noticed a big phone number on the sign. I phoned that sign. What do you want me to do? So the old me was just absolutely dead beside myself. Right? I said, I hooked my horn. And as it turned out, nobody was there. It was sort of like a satellite rent situation. And so I just sat there and I said, I better get my control of this. This is a real situation that I know I'm going to need my phone. And so I said, how do I get my phone? So I went down to the and I recharged it. Except it wouldn't go through. It discontinued my number or something.
It is what it is.
Eventually, with the help of a very kind woman, and I was trying to speak Spanish this whole time. And so I got my phone working, and I phoned the number they left me, and they said, you need to go out, because this is getting too long. Anyway, I get to the hospital, nobody tells you anything. So it's hospital, you have to pay your bill before you see the doctor. And so I
I sort of like am distilling that into a lesson of being in a state of frustration supports dysregulation. And when we're dysregulated, we're not operating in an optimal way. And you said we're making more mistakes, right?
And even behave like reflection.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not too proud to admit I had a similar situation happen with my altar. I was traveling to Tulum to go visit Kirby, and I have traveled everywhere with this, and there's hundreds of hours of meditation and energy that have gone into everything in here. And I travel everywhere with it. I have it in my carry-on. Never had a problem. I one time had a customs officer in the U.S. say, do you have rocks in your bag? And I thought he was joking because my bag was so heavy with the camera gear. And I was like, oh, no. And he's like, no, do you have rocks in your bag? Because they're stones to me. They're not, whatever. I'm like, oh, my God, yeah, no, I do. And I'm like, can I show you? Because they're deeply important spiritual items, and ideally you're not touching them if you don't have to. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm telling a customs officer not to touch something in my bag. I'm like, I can already feel the cuffs on. And he was kind, and I just said, yeah, it's a part, all of this is a part of my spiritual practice. And he's like, oh, got it, don't worry about it, it's all good, great. This time, oh Lord, the guy was just grabbing and rifling and tossing my grandfather's stones around, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't even believe that this has happened. I can't believe that somebody could be so callous and disconnect. I mean, you can obviously see that this has spiritual significance. I'm not just taking stones out of the river to, deplete Costa Rica of its stones. And I lost myself in that, and I started crying. I'm in the middle of the airport. I'm begging him. I'm saying, muy importante, espiritual, like, despacio, like, ayudar, like, I'm like, help, somebody, like, oh my God, what's going on? And he just grabbed the whole thing, even with my cloth, my altar cloth, and he just grabbed the whole thing, and he went to just throw it in the garbage. He's holding it over the garbage, and I'm like, no, and I'm like, if I do anything else, I'm going into airport jail. I don't know I'm going to get deported. I don't know what's going to happen. And that was a beautiful lesson for me. Like, I was not in my highest self in that moment. I was panicked. I was dysregulated. I was not thinking clearly. I was not operating well. Thankfully, the external circumstances came into alignment with what I was hoping would happen, and he did return my stuff to me. But immediately after, I messaged Carolina. I messaged Mark. I'm like, I need spiritual guidance. This was really hard for me. I didn't react in the way that I should and that I wanted to. And they both had beautiful advice to me and non-attachment. They're just things. I'm like, you're right. They're to me spiritually significant, important things, still things. And once I was able to go through that, it's like, I can lose things, but this is way more important. My emotional regulation, my physical, mental well-being is far more important than anything. And that's like what a lot of this practice is. It's gaining mastery over our physical, mental, energetic space.
Because that's what I have to ask you about.
Yeah.
Carolina and Thomas Archie operate like a spiritual ability.
Yeah. Actually, that's a great point. So Lama does, I believe by donation, does provide advisement and guidance, and I highly recommend it. And don't be surprised when the answer is both incredibly simple and difficult. Everything, the path to the things that are worthwhile is incredibly simple, so straightforward, and rolling that ball up the hill.
Difficult to enact.
Difficult to enact and maintain and be consistent with. Yeah. Thanks, John.
See, the one thing I thought about about non-acceptance and passive acceptance, and then active acceptance, is the only one of those three that gives you the full array of choices is active acceptance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Non-acceptance, there's one answer. There's one choice. Passive acceptance, really, you get stuck with one choice about not dealing with the reality of it. Active acceptance opens the full door of all the choices that you have.
Yeah.
That's, as I was listening, I realized how big and broad that middle category is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's really, it's good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you.
Passive acceptance, though, is tricky, especially when it comes from other people. It doesn't feel like one thing coming at you. It feels like any number of game plans. And so if you can stop doing that yourself, then you're not playing games with yourself.
And you could be
with
doing it to
reality.
yourself. You could be doing it to someone else. You could be
Absolutely.
receiving it from somebody else.
Absolutely.
You could be reflecting that to a situation. It doesn't even have to be to a person. You know, but either way, you're eliminating the benefit of actual control that you could have through active acceptance.
Do you think one of you could give an example of like those three things so I can hear and understand the difference between the passive acceptance and then the active acceptance?
Between those two specifically?
Well, I want all three of them if you can, but
Yeah.
the two are just I want to make sure.
So non-acceptance, an example of that. So say you're in a relationship with somebody, and your partner is feeling challenged by something in the relationship, and they need to talk to you about it. That exists. That is, they approach you and they say, I have something that's really been weighing on my mind. I really need to talk to you about it. And your response is, I don't got time for this. And you walk away. You know what? Whatever you have going on in your mind, deal with it. I'm out.
It's a shut door.
It's a closed door. I'm not witnessing this. I'm not conscious of it in any possible way. I'm not willing to address this. I'm out. That's non-acceptance. This isn't a part of my reality. This is your reality. Have at it. Passive acceptance is, say that same situation comes up. You know, I really need to talk to you about something. It's really important. Listen, hon, relationships are tough. Get used to it. You know what? Not all relationships are rainbows and sunshine, lady. Get over it. What's that?
Life's a bitch.
Life's a bitch, right?
It is what it is.
Get over it. That's so I'm addressing it with you, not in the way that you want. I'm not validating your feelings, but in my mind, I'm not running away. I'm saying, yeah, hey, I hear you. I don't. I hear you. Whatever. Life's tough. Get over it. You know, I've addressed it with you in my mind, but I haven't really. That's passive acceptance. Actual active acceptance is, oh, this exists. This is a thing. I want our relationship to flourish. Yeah, let's talk about it. You
This
know?
is true for you.
This is true for this might cause me pain. This might be hard for me. This might be something I got to roll uphill. But I'm not ignoring this. I'm not turning it away. This is a thing. This exists. Okay. This exists. I hear you. What does it look like to you? Let's talk about it. You know, and why is this happening for me? Because if I say this is your stuff, not mine, and walk away, or if I say life's tough, get over it, that is damaging our relationship, and it's damaging me. So when I have someone coming up to me that I care about, and they say, "Hey, I've got something that's really challenging going on right now." Oh, thank God you're bringing it to me. This is happening. This thing that's going to be challenging for us to go through is totally happening for me. I want this relationship to work. Thank God you brought that up. Yeah.
And I think like the mastery of that is to be able to stay in a really high position yourself and help somebody, or to like to gaze at them and help them. I know you want them to come to where you are, but you stay sort of like high, right? It doesn't mean you have to go into the trenches of the case. I gotta look.
So you're
at
saying
you
we should be
listen.
high all the time?
Just stay high. However you can do it.
Yeah.
The view is better from the high road.
Well, you
Yeah.
have more clarity,
Yeah.
and you can offer more wisdom, right?
And that could also be seen as staying in a grounded state, stable. And again, you know, we're talking about active acceptance is fully conscious, aware, solutions focused, and stable. What was my other word? Stable and regulated, right? Yeah. Thank you. is what it is.
It is right. It is what it is. But now listening, I'm thinking more out of the passive acceptance.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with it. I mean, I did recognize what I was angry about. I want other people to behave differently or have done something differently, and that's what they do. So I had maybe a little bit of clarity more than I would have. But for something like that, like active acceptance, I mean, I guess I can think of why at this point in the universe this situation is impacting you, and my acceptance of it wasn't very good.
So can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
In your experience, what would active acceptance of that situation look like?
I guess I don't know. I guess maybe it'd be something about my reaction to it. Even though I can't change the situation, like that anger. And I did recognize it, that anger was, that I was experiencing that.
Yep.
But maybe something where this is unfolding for reasons that I don't understand.
Mm.
And my impact on me is curious, potential.
Can we go down that rabbit hole for a little bit? So you said, if I heard you correctly, you said you wanted to be you said maybe I should be curious, and that kills me.
Yeah.
What is it about the curiosity that is challenging?
Because I have a huge resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to be curious would be to allow something that I intrinsically believe to be acceptable. Right.
Is that the judgment part?
Yeah.
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 Top of the list. I get you. I'm paddling in your same boat.
Yeah.
So I think acceptance is different from deeming something to be right. Right? Acceptance isn't saying, oh, that's right behavior. There's tons of unconscious wrong behavior in the world. Acceptance isn't saying that something is right. Acceptance is saying there's an infinite number of factors that I can't possibly comprehend that have come together to make this happen, and this makes sense. And then curiosity, what if I were to tell you that on the other side of curiosity was absolute peace? You are now moving through the world from a state of regulation and peace versus all of that is going to happen. We don't have control over that. It's happening regardless. Is the world a better place with all that happening and you being dysregulated and stressed out? Or is the world a better place with all that stuff happening anyway and you being in a state of peace and regulation and curiosity and openness to what you can control?
Tricky, the difference between that and okay, this is what it is. I can't do anything. Move on.
Oh, but you can do something. What was there's I saw some saying recently that said something like, I'm going to paraphrase this and trampling all over this, but it said, I can't do anything about it, said 8 billion people. Right?
Oh, that's the one about something similar about the hand throwing up,
Yeah.
and the Dalai Lama or someone was saying, asking him, how can I do anything? It's just me. It's just what I have. And he goes, well, raise your hands.
Yeah.
And then he said, for the rest of the group, everyone raise your hands. So there are all these hands up.
Yeah.
So in numbers, there's power.
Oh, yeah. If we have a world,
This shit show's gonna keep going.
Yeah, yeah, but don't add to it.
yeah, the very first thing, if you can't change it, don't add to it. And this, there's no judgment in this at all. Also hold love and compassion for whatever is coming up in you, because it's real, it's valid. If you're feeling upset, there's a reason for it. You know, love yourself through that. And we're all going to experience pain. We just get to decide if we're going to suffer from it or not. And it is a gift to ourselves and to everybody around us to not suffer. Because when I'm not in a state of suffering, I'm better. I'm not somebody else's problem, and I'm inspiring other people to do that for themselves as well. I've affected at least 3 people at the base root of things, just by taking care of myself and making sure that I'm regulated, I'm stable, I'm peaceful, I'm happy.
And not suffering from the shove it aside, and then you're not feeling guilty, different than the not suffering because you're living that coping way, because you're happy.
You don't have to agree with something to accept it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in the world that I do not agree with, but they are. They make sense. And what can I control, and how can I move through things so that I'm better? Because when I'm better, Jeff's better. When Jeff's better, I'm better. When Jeff and I are better, we're all better. Right?
Yeah, your story makes me thinking because we are so close, Canada, yes, and we are almost in the same boat. You can get angry every day, and now they have the big demonstration in Toronto, Trudeau out and all this. And I'm thinking to myself, it's just because we live in this country. What is with all the countries in the world? Because this problem is in every country. There is not one country in the world where this is not happening. Just maybe not so visible or in a different surrounding, but there is not one country what is in a glorious, my goodness, the leader is an angel and we are happy there. None, unfortunately, on earth. But for me it helps that I say to myself what you just mentioned, I'm sitting and I'm putting out high frequency, like not that I say it doesn't matter, but when we are all angry, then our energy on earth gets down and down, so I'm seeing myself. And this, by spirituality, is, they like it when we all just unhappy and bitching and throwing rocks, but when we are not bitchy and we are happy and we sending this energy out, then our power is maybe more than just going on the demonstration and get really angry. And this is, I experience this, not going in my past, but I'm saying it here because I'm from the country where is the only peaceful revolution happened in world history. We did nothing bad. We didn't get angry. We just put this thing out to the universe and then please, when something happened, put this freaking wall down. And you know what? With no mental reasons. When you look in history, there was no reason. And I always say to people, oh, what you did? I said, no, we just put out the good energy. We want to have a life like everybody else, free. And then, bang, the wall came down. Like the angels knocked it down. Because there was in history nothing said, nothing done why this historical event took place. And this is why I always put hope out. Right now this is so bad and so bad. But when I'm sitting here and collecting all my energy, everything has a beginning and nothing is forever. And right now, these two monkeys maybe die tomorrow on a heart attack. We don't know, right? So this is how I see it.
Yeah. Something that the Lama has taught me over and over again, because apparently I need to be reminded over and over again, is that we can get so invested and wrapped up in the details of a situation, and the foundations of what the actual answers. I'll come to Lama and be like, I got this thing, and it's this, and it's confusing, and the confusion is causing me suffering. Here are all the details, and he just sits there. He's like, details. He's like, it's this. It's compassion. It's love. It's you're reveling in confusion or anger, or they're all very simple foundational things. We get so emotionally invested in the details, and you go to a psychologist. You probably spent the majority of your career listening to details, going, I
Yes.
get that there's a lot of details. It's this. And it's the same thing here as it is with all these details over here, and it's the same foundational element of these details over here. I don't want to impose that on you, but I imagine.
Well, and each person has their answer.
Yeah.
When you take yourself out of the driver's seat and put people back into their own driver's seat, then their answer is there. You're there to help them discover what their answer is.
Simple, difficult.
Yeah, simple. You know the answer. Well, can you tell me the answer? I'm here to help you discover your answer. My answer might not be your answer. But it does really come down to some simple, to some simple truths, and also all of this stuff fits beautiful with all the psychology of things. You talk about detachment. People in therapy struggle because they attach. It's as simple as that. And it's true. This is what we're teaching here. So to become an observer and stay involved in a detached manner, if you can figure that out, now you've solved your problem.
Now, all of this work, we're just trying to get into a way of stopping suffering. Suffering doesn't serve anybody in any positive way. It causes stress, anxiety, inflammation, like physical inflammation. We can get diseases, we can get sick from being in suffering. That's not serving anybody. So these are all tools and techniques to help us live a life that has the least amount of suffering possible. We are regulated, we're operating in optimal ways, we're thinking clearly. We're existing in the truest form of our human nature. That's what we want to get to. Love and compassion.
Let's do the ending.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you all so much. I appreciate you. Okay. Invite everybody to grab a nice, comfortable position. Again, the focus doesn't have to be on sitting in a proper stance and like all this stuff. It's like we're not doing this for academic reasons. We wanna feel good. We wanna put back into our bodies. And so ideally present yourself with a nice straight aligned back, neck, crown chakra, so we can have a nice flow of energy. If you want to sit with your hands on your knees, if you want them on the floor, I like to have them in my lap with my right hand over top of my left hand, palms up with my thumbs touching, whatever works for you. So to start, you can close your eyes or soften your gaze. We're going to ease into a state of active acceptance of all that is. This all makes sense. All the sounds, all the feelings and sensations, everything we're experiencing right now makes sense. And it's here for us. I invite us all to take 3 deep breaths together, in through the nose, holding at the top, and then an exhale through the mouth, starting now. Once again, with a loving mind, a loving open heart, I invite you to bear witness to the beautiful automatic gift of your breath. Just bearing witness without judgment, without attaching to anything. If anything, just feeling appreciation, gratitude. This beautiful life-giving force that gives without taking, that provides you with life without asking. Just feel appreciation for your beautiful vessel. Feeling into your beautiful heart space, from a place of tranquility and groundedness. I invite you to bring to mind your beautiful self. What does that look like for you? Are you envisioning yourself sitting here with us in this moment? Is it a vision of yourself from the past, the future? photo of yourself when you were a kid. However you bring yourself to mind, just hold yourself with love. And I invite you to say to yourself, may I be well. May no harm come to me. May I live with ease, calm, and peaceful, and equanimity. May I be happy. And with love, smile at yourself, smile at this vision of yourself as we turn out and move forward on the ring of compassion. Picture someone with whom you love so deeply with all of your heart. When you think about them, when you picture them, your heart swells with joy. And smile at this person in the warm glow of love that you have for them. And to them, I invite you to say, may you be well. May no harm come to you. May you live with ease, calm, and peaceful. May you be happy. Smile and blow them a kiss. Turn away as we move one more ring out on the circle of compassion. Picturing someone neutral. You may not know them very well, maybe someone you see in passing, walking on your walk in the morning. They may serve you at a restaurant. Just a casual acquaintance. Smile at them. To this beautiful being, I invite you to say, may you be well. May no harm come to you. May you live with ease, calm, and peaceful. May you be happy. I invite you to take a deep breath, deep belly breath. Just fill yourself with all the love and compassion you can muster. As we turn out and explore one more ring on the circle of compassion to someone with whom you're in conflict. This could be someone who you don't like, maybe someone who doesn't like you. Maybe you feel constriction in your body when you think of them. But for right now, I invite you to recognize the sacredness of all beings and understand that we're all just operating through varying levels of suffering and with varying degrees of abilities and tools to navigate that suffering. But at our core, we're all perfect, beautiful beings. And so for a moment, see this person through that lens, and I invite you to say to them, may you be well. May no harm come to you. May you live with ease, calm, and peaceful. May you be happy. Understanding that when this person is well and happy and in a balanced state of equanimity, we are all better for it. This is what we want. Suffering causes further suffering. We're here for compassion and love. Smile and nod at that person as we turn away and move one more ring out on the circle of compassion. And for this, I invite everyone to put your hands over your heart space, as the heart is the only space symbolically big enough to hold loving energy for all beings everywhere, on this plane on all other planes, past, present, and future. And to all sentient beings, I invite you to say, may we all be well. May we all be safe. May we all live with ease, free from suffering. May we all experience happiness. Just put yourself in that state of belief, of understanding. What does that experience feel like if all beings everywhere are in a state of happiness and aren't suffering? What does that look like? Put yourself into that energetic vibration. That's what we're here for. I invite you to lovingly release your hands, bring them into prayer position, and to yourselves or aloud, I invite you to repeat after me. I go in peace.
I go in peace.
I go making peace.
I go making peace.
Living gently.
Living gently.
Loving mightily.